Hi there, it's Debbie from celestialastrologyhealing.co.uk, and today I'm talking about the forthcoming new moon in Sagittarius on the 1st of December. In the UK, this is at 6:20 a.m., that's GMT. So welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back to any subscribers and astro friends. You're very welcome here, and my channel is to really share my astrological inspirations and insights to enrich our lives, to understand what's going on in the heavens. I welcome you to subscribe to my channel if you would like to support me. It doesn't cost anything, and once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a free reading of your choice. So I usually like to start with images which represent what's going on. And for Sagittarius, this would be images of the Archer and the Centaur, and the planet Jupiter is the ruler of this sign of the zodiac. So just bear with me. So first, here is an image of the god Jupiter. He is the king of the heavens. And as you can see, this is a beautiful planet of Jupiter. It's the largest planet of the solar system. And it therefore represents a sense of expansion, growth, opportunities, breadth of vision, good fortune, and rewards. So especially if you're born in the daytime, Jupiter is your daytime benefic planet. He is the greater benefic and Venus is the lesser benefic. And here is the symbol for Jupiter. It looks like a number 4. So you can just see how powerful he is. He is Zeus, king of the gods. And he is the ruler of Sagittarius, and in modern astrology, well, in ancient astrology rather, Pisces. He rules traditionally both Sagittarius and Pisces. And the sun and the moon are going to be at 9 degrees Sagittarius, 32 minutes. So Jupiter is the ruler of this lunation. So let me just bring up some more imagery. Here we go. Here is a lovely symbol here of the centaur, half man, half horse. This is Chiron, the centaur, and he's got the bow pulled back, ready to strike and send off his arrows into the heavens in a sense of seeking and aiming for something. And Sagittarius energy is very much about the quest. It's always seeking and searching and looking for and expanding the breadth of vision and our knowledge. So it's a very expansive, positive sign of the zodiac, symbolized, well, it's a fire sign, it's a mutable modality, and it's a yang sign, as in masculine energy, outward expressing energy, as in yin and yang. So it's a fire sign here. And this is a sliver of light. And actually at new moon, we have no light in the heavens at all. So it's a time where you can use your intentions to think about what seeds of new ideas, if you work with the lunar cycles, what you'd like to bring to fruition. But it's usually best to wait a couple of days after the new moon, because then there's a bit of light reflecting from the sun, which can represent your ideas and that which you'd like to gestate over the next couple of weeks or up until the full moon in Sagittarius, which is 6 months later on the 11th of June. Here's just another image of a feminine archer. She looks quite raunchy, actually. Now I look more closely at her quite burlesque attire, I would say. Yeah, so she's pulling the arrow back and she's aiming the arrow high into the heavens. And that's what Sagittarian energy is about. It's truth finding, it's seeking, it's being on the quest. So I believe that's all the images I'd like to share. So I'd like to show a map of the heavens now. So this is at the time of the new moon on the 1st of December 2024. As I was saying, 6:20, that's GMT here in Scotland, and you would have to adapt that to your time zone. So let me point out some of the planetary weather, and then in this video I will give short delineations based upon your rising sign if you know your time of birth, or your sun or moon sign. You can scroll along using the timestamps that you can see and the more information in the comments below. So you can listen to the introduction here where I'm talking about the cosmic weather in the heavens that affects us all. And then you can listen to a short interpretation for your particular sign of the zodiac you can listen for your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. But using the whole sign house system, it tends to be the first house is your ascending sign. That whole house is about your ascendant. So that can be more accurate about how you express yourself, your whole identity. The sun may be more about your inner drive and ambitions. It might be related to masculine principles in your life, like father figures, or your drive, your soul's purpose. The moon sign may represent the more feminine parts of yourself, your emotional states, your sense of security, your mind and environment, and related to mothering and family. But the ascendant tends to be more related to just you, and all just to be about you, because the first house, which the ascendant rules, is really about you being at the helm of the ship. So at the time of this new moon in Sagittarius, we have the sun and the moon at 9 degrees 32 minutes. So there's always a conjunction at the time of a new moon. Usually there's only one new moon and one full moon in each sign of the zodiac every year. And I've recently heard an astrologer say if you get a second new moon, it's called a black moon, which is the first time I've actually heard that. I know that you get a blue moon when you get a second full moon. So that was the very first time I'd heard that. But this is the new moon in Sagittarius. I believe we've only got one this year. And we have the planet Mercury, the messenger of the gods, who's related to our communications, our ideas, our interactions with others, mercantile projects, plans, contracts, selling, and traveling. He is present here at 20 degrees, 20 minutes retrograde, and Mercury stationed retrograde on the 25th of November. I don't know if I need my glasses. And he will station direct. Did I put the station direct on the 15th of December? But any ideas when Mercury is going retrograde, it's a time of reflection and going back over some themes, revisiting themes, not particularly starting new projects, but thinking back over things and reviewing them. And then when Mercury moves past the post-shadow period, that would be moving forward from the 3rd of January would be a good time to move forward with any ideas that you may come across during this retrograde period of Mercury. So yeah, we've got the sun and the moon in Sagittarius, a very warm, bright sign of the zodiac, usually full of enthusiasm because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet of the solar system. And we have just moved out of the very intense water sign of Scorpio, fixed yin, as in receptive inward energy of Scorpio. And now you can see that the sun usually moves about 1 degree a day. So about 9 days ago, the sun would have moved into Sagittarius. And each sign of the zodiac is very different, the ones that are adjacent to each other, because they move from a yin energy to a yang energy. And like water is about emotional depths and feelings and sensitivity and emotions, intuition, and fire is about action and assertion and doing and brightness and outward energy. And, you know, it builds up to this festive time of year with winter solstice and Christmas, if you celebrate these things. So it can bring a different type of energy. And for me, I'm a double Sag, so I always feel this time of year as I approach my solar return is quite a dynamic, exciting time where it gives me a little boost of extra enthusiasm and positivity and hope and, you know, interactions with others and celebrations and, you know, coming out of my shell a bit more. Whereas during the Scorpio season, I tend to be more withdrawn and inward and reflective. That may resonate for you, I don't know. But generally, Sagittarius month is this fire sign of bright, enthusiastic, outward expressing energy. So that's what's going on there. And Jupiter is retrograde at 17 degrees, 9 minutes Gemini. So Jupiter is going to be retrograde for a period of time. And this is in a whole sign opposition. Gemini and Sagittarius are in oppositions. So there can be a sense of having to find balance between these energies, particularly Mercury and your ideas, and Jupiter, expansion, growth, opportunities. But both planets are going retrograde at this time. And with the opposition, it's the nature of Saturn, the most distant planet of the solar system. And it's about finding balance between these polarities of energy. So there can sometimes be a tug of war energy if balance and that perfect fulcrum point can't be met. So there is a dynamic there of a potential tug of war energy. And it's not a time to go forward with ideas that are coming up because both planets are retrograde. Anything else I wanted to say? Yeah, Mars is at 5 degrees Leo. This is a fixed yang fire sign. And by the trine aspect, 30, 60, 90, 120, Mars is in a helpful trine to this new moon. It's a wide orb of about 4 degrees, but or you could say it's in a whole sign trine as well to Mercury and this house here. So what I'll be focusing on in my short delineations for all the signs of the zodiac are where this new moon is falling. Some people might say, oh, well, I don't have any Sagittarius planets in my chart. That doesn't matter because Sagittarius will be on one of the house cusps. And if I explain about house cusps, this is the first house cusp here. We start at the 9 o'clock position and we go anti-clockwise around this zodiac wheel. All the signs of the zodiac are listed here in the candle positions on a cake. The first house is here at the 9 o'clock position, second house, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. These tend to be the houses which are about our personal aspects of our life, self, our feelings, our money, our skills, our neighborhood, third house, siblings, in and around our communications around our home, fourth house, home and family, lineage and ancestry. Fifth house is about pleasures and joys and creativity, maybe pregnancy, romance, children. Sixth house is about work and service and health. And then when we cross over from the first to the seventh, it becomes a shared experience. From the first house of self, it becomes the seventh house of our shared relationships. And then when we cross over from the second house of our own money and our own skills, it becomes about shared resources and shared finances or money from others. The third house of local journeys and education and communications is opposite, and it becomes the higher mind, further education, spirituality, religion, philosophy, those type of things. It also can be related to law and court decisions and publishing. Fourth house of home and family is opposite the 10th house, which is about our social status, our public reputation, what we are seen to do in the outside world, whereas the home house is hidden. The fifth house of Venus's joy is opposite Jupiter's joy. So our own pleasures, and the 11th house is about shared pleasures, network groups, communities, your tribe, those that support you in life, and it can represent your long-term wishes and goals. And opposite the 6th house of Mars's joy, we have Saturn's joy, the hidden house, the place of retreat, behind the scenes, our inner self, our inner wealth, our subconscious, our dream states, our deeper inner spiritual self. So that's what all of these houses represent generally. There are many more interpretations for them, but just in a general way. So Sagittarius will be on one of those house cusps for you when I go through the chart. And if you know your time of birth, you can use free data. I'll list it below. There's a couple of websites that you can use, astro.com or AstroSeek, and then you can type in, maybe you have to create your account, put your name, date, place, and crucially time of birth, and make sure it's in the correct time zone, because I've just done a reading for a client and it was 1 hour out because I wasn't familiar with Eastern Standard and Eastern Daylight, and we had the correct time of birth, but it can change the ascendant. So check that you've got the correct time zone, and then you'll get your ascendant. And I would advise trying the whole sign house system, which is the ancient house system used by Hellenistic astrologers and the most ancient astrologers, as far as I've been taught. And then you can have a whole chunk of the first house representing your ascendant sign, chunks of 30 degrees, and you can see which house the new moon will be in. For example, this is Scorpio ascendant here. You can see 18 degrees Scorpio. So Scorpio is on this first house cusp, and the new moon will be in the second house with Mercury. And then I'll look at Jupiter being in the 8th house there. And I would also look at Mars, the ruler of Scorpio. So thanks for listening to the introduction. And now I'm going to do short delineations. That means interpretations for all the signs of the zodiac. So thank you for bearing with me as I bring up the live chart. So hi there, Aries, ascendant, sun or moon. As we can see, we have this new moon in Sagittarius at 9 degrees 32 minutes, co-present with Mercury up here in your 9th house of Sagittarius. So this could bring an opportunity for you to think about different things that are related to your belief systems. It could also relate to ideas of further education or a trip overseas or foreign shores or other cultures. These sort of topics may be relevant at the time of this new moon, where you can plant seeds of something new that you'd like to bring to fruition that may come 6 months later, if you're working on some longer term projects, on the 11th of June 2025. So there's a sense of hope, expansion, breadth of vision, adventure, widening the horizon. So it could be related to new spiritual paths, maybe pilgrimages, places, or as I was saying, some topics of further education and studying. Your ruler, Aries, is Mars, and Mars is in the fire sign of Leo. He's still direct at this time. He will be retrograding back into your 4th house of Cancer, related to your home and family. But at this time, there is a lovely trine aspect flowing from your house of pleasures, Venus's joy. There's a warm exuberance about Mars in Venus's joy, because Leo is a sign which is very fiery, fixed, creative, generous, fun-loving, and quite exuberant. So this flowing energy may inspire some new ideas for you that you may like to think about developing over the next couple of weeks or 6 months. And then at the same time, the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter here in this whole sign opposition from your 3rd house of daily life and communications in Gemini. Jupiter is retrograde at 17 degrees 9 minutes in Gemini. So at the time of this new moon, because Mercury is retrograde and Jupiter is retrograde, when planets are retrograde, as seen from our geocentric point of view on Earth, they don't actually go backwards. It's just an optical illusion. Symbolically, it's a time of reflection. So it's about revising some ideas. Jupiter is about communications in your everyday life, or something to do with your siblings or distant relatives or friendship groups. This is the joy of the moon, the 3rd house of Gemini. So there could be some topics here that you may be reviewing. Jupiter in Gemini has many, many ideas, because Gemini is the twins, spinning lots of ideas. So a time of reflection. And with Mercury also retrograde, there's a sense of trying to find some balance between what's possible within your everyday life and what you'd like to expand in the future. And that may be more possible when Mercury moves past the shadow period on the 3rd of January. So let me know if any of that resonates with you, Aries. If you can, press the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe. It really doesn't take long to do that, and I would really appreciate that. So thank you very much. And now moving on to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Taurus. So welcome, Taurus. This is your new moon in Sagittarius, short interpretation. So as you can see, we've got the sun and the moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius, 32 minutes in your 8th house. So the 8th house is to do with shared resources, joint finances, intimacy, the views and esteem of others. So how you are perceived and seen and appreciated from others. But it can also be a house of, because it's a house of deep transformation, the occult, it can bring up certain anxieties and worries. It can be about endings and rebirth. And as I was saying, transformation. So there is a potential here for something new to happen in this intimate area of your life. Mercury is currently at 20 degrees, 20 minutes retrograde. So there is maybe an opportunity for you to reflect, revisit, revise, rethink, replan, and just be open to a sense of going back over some ideas so that something new can go ahead for you in the future. Remembering that new moon, it's a dark sky, there's no light in the heavens, so there's a time of reflection here that you can take time to think and go back over these intimate relationships and how that can possibly change in the future. Venus is your ruler. So where is Venus? Venus is up here in your 9th house of Capricorn. So she is your ruler. So she can't really see this new moon, but she's in a very practical sign of Capricorn, the cardinal yin earth sign, which is about resilience and appreciation of, efforts and long-term plans. And Jupiter is in the opposite sign of Gemini. So let me get my actual arrow, not the circle. Jupiter is 17 degrees Gemini, 9 minutes retrograde in an opposition to Mercury. So there is actually a mutual reception going on here because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Mercury rules Gemini. So there is a way, something around expanding your own resources with Jupiter in your 2nd house here, looking at your finances or your skills and how you can build security for the future. So Mercury can help Jupiter. He's in this opposite house. The temple that he rules is 180 degrees away. He's in exile because Mercury rules Gemini and also Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So they can help each other. So during this time of the new moon in Sagittarius, if you are working with trying to change things or start something new, something that may come to reflection, to culmination or visibility or an end point, this will come at the full moon in Sagittarius on the 11th of June, 2025. So there's a sense of having to find balance between these opposing mutual reception planets here. So I hope that's helpful for you, Taurus, and thanks for listening. Like, share, leave a comment below. That all helps the algorithm and it helps my channel. And once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a free reading. So thank you for supporting me and encouraging me to carry on doing these YouTube videos. Thank you. So hi there, Gemini. This is your new moon in Sagittarius reading. So as we can see, it's in very dynamic houses, actually, because Sagittarius is your opposite sign of the zodiac. So this new moon with the sun and the moon at 9 degrees, 32 minutes in Sagittarius is in your 7th house of your close and personal relationships. So this is given an opportunity for either, if you're single, potentially a new relationship to build over the next 2 weeks to 6 months, culminating on the 11th of June, 2025. Or if you're in an existing long-term relationship, perhaps there's something new that can be injected into your relationship that gives it a new sense of growth, adventure, expansion, different realms that you're able, maybe traveling with your partner, something like that, something that actually inspires your wider mind and belief system. And your ruler is Mercury. Mercury is co-present in Sagittarius. Mercury is in exile, away from the home that Mercury rules, which is Gemini. And Jupiter is away from the home that he rules, which is Sagittarius. So there is a sense that Jupiter in your 1st house of expanding and learning and changing and developing and widening your own sense of identity is being supported by the Mercury opposition. There is a necessity to find balance. However, because they're in a mutual reception, being in each other's homes, they can give support. But it is a time of reflection as well and going back over ideas because both of these planets are retrograde. So that means going back, rethinking, revisiting, revising, finishing up things that you've maybe started or going back over some old plans. And then when Mercury moves past the shadow period, the 3rd of January may be a good time where you can push ahead with these new ideas. So I hope that's helpful for you, Gemini. leave a comment below if any of that resonates, and press the like button, and subscribe if you're already not a subscriber. I really appreciate this support to encourage me to continue doing these YouTube videos. I always have to carve out a piece of time, and it always takes longer than I plan. And then I'm usually under quite a lot of pressure. And then if people don't like it or watch it, then it makes me feel like, is there any point? I've already crossed this bridge before. I'm just moving my Blue Yeti. I've actually not in the place where I normally record, so I hope the recording volume is okay. And I've just moved it out, and I hope that you can hear me from here. So where were we? We're now into Cancer. Cancer, this is a new moon in your 6th house, which is related to your daily life. In ancient astrology, this was called the house of Mars's joy. It was the house of servants. And in our daily modern life, this could be related to your daily duties, mundane chores, and it could be about your work life and sense of service to others and compassion, what you give up in relation to serving and doing things for others. So it can be work, self-sacrifice, and it's also the house of your health. So, and it's also related to small pets, smaller than a goat, apparently, in ancient astrology. So the moon is your ruler. The moon is here with the sun conjoined at 9 degrees, 32 minutes Sagittarius. So there could be a time, Cancerians, where you're reflecting upon either your work or how your work impacts your health and what you may be able to change for the future. And there's Mercury co-present at 20 degrees Sag, 20 minutes retrograde. So this could be a time, because Mercury is about your mind and your ideas and your thoughts and your communications. It could be a time where you are rethinking many of these things as Mercury is retrograde, revisiting, revising, reviewing. You know, all of these things are very much related to what Mercury represents at the time of this new moon. So new moon, new intentions. There's a dark sky. Wait for a couple of days before you start anything in motion. And in fact, it's probably not the best time to start anything until Mercury moves direct, at least, which will be the 15th of December. But Mercury moves past the post-shadow period. I think it was 22 degrees where he retrograded. And that will be the 3rd of January where he moves past that point in the heavens. So this is quite a potentially important new moon for you, Cancerians, because it is related to quite an important part of your life, which takes up a lot of your time. And the ruler of this new moon is Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, the largest planet of the solar system. And you've had Jupiter in this 12th house here of Gemini. This is the furthest house from the helm of the ship, the 1st house. So this is already in a very private, retreative house, about your inner self, your inner wealth, you know, when you reflect and you take yourself away from others in a place of retreat, or listening to your dreams, or listening to your own inner spiritual compass. It's a time where you may have had many ideas that you are culminating, because Gemini, the twins, stimulates many ideas. But because Jupiter is retrograde, you maybe can go back over these things, maybe think about healthy practices that can benefit your health. Because when you have any planets in the 12th house, it can be known as the house of self-undoing, which is about losing control. And it can sometimes represent bad habits that we become attached to, that make us lose our compass in life and feel out of sorts, in a way where you don't feel you're in charge of your own destiny. So it can be a time of starting something new that is helpful and healing for you, or recognizing that it's a time to stop unhealthy, addictive practices. Now, this may involve drink or drugs or anything that's really not great for you expressing yourself. And because Mercury is in the house that Jupiter rules of Sagittarius, Mercury is in exile or detriment. Jupiter is in exile or detriment because Jupiter rules Sag, Mercury rules Gemini. There's a mutual reception here. This opposition can give you some strength. So from your listening in to your own inner wisdom, or finding some nourishing spiritual practices that can support your health and can support future ideas for your work life and health for the future. So I hope that's helpful for you. Cancerians, please let me know if any of that resonates. Leave a like, share, leave a comment below to help the algorithm. If you're able to do that, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hi there, Leo. This is your new moon in Sagittarius reading, and I will circle this little stellium here. That's when you have 3 or more planets together. So the sun and the moon are at 9 degrees Sag, 32 minutes, co-present with Mercury at 20 degrees Sag, 20 minutes retrograde. So this new moon has your sun, the ruler, conjoined with the moon. So there's this sort of area of focus around your 5th house topics. So the 5th house is about Venus's joy. In ancient astrology, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, refinement, pleasures, sensuality, lust, you know, all of these things. It can represent a new beginning in either a romantic relationship or a new project that brings you joy creatively. It could be about children. It could be about pregnancy. It's basically anything that brings you joy in your life and what that is. So there is a new opportunity here at the time of this new moon to think about what you can change or introduce into your life for the future. And Mercury is retrograde, so it's a time of reflecting and going back over ideas related to these topics. And it's probably not a great idea to start a new project at this time because Mercury is retrograde and also it's a dark moon. But you could work on a longer term outcome, which may come to fruition at the full moon on the 11th of June 2025, when there's a full moon in Sagittarius 6 months later. So that's what's happening there, the potential to start something new. And the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter at 17 degrees Gemini, 9 minutes retrograde. So Jupiter, the largest planet of the solar system, is far away from this house that he rules, Sagittarius. But so is Mercury. Mercury is far away from Gemini, which he rules. So in a way, these planets are helpful to each other in this opposition. They're in mutual reception. So each knows what the other needs. Or they can like say, oh, can you do this for me because you're in my home? And yes, and can you just get that out of the cupboard and feed the cat or something like that? I don't know. But the 11th house of Jupiter's joy is where Jupiter is in your chart, and it represents your long-term wishes and dreams. So there's a time to reflect upon these during this Jupiter retrograde and also Mercury retrograde across these dynamics of Venus's joy, the house of Venus's joy, and the house of Jupiter's joy. The Jupiter in Gemini in the 11th house can also represent your network of friends. It was called the house of allies and benefactors in ancient times. So it could be a time of reflecting on who are your true friends and which friends are supporting you to help you fulfill your aspirations towards long-term goals and wishes for the future. So I hope that's helpful for you, Leo. Please leave a comment below. Press the like button if you're able to. Doesn't cost anything. Helps the algorithm, supports me, gives me a little boost, makes me feel that what I'm doing as a Leo moon is worthwhile and I'm being appreciated. So I hope you can do that. Thank you so much. So now moving on to Virgo. Welcome, Virgo. This is your new moon in Sagittarius. Short delineation. This is quite a dynamic area for you, actually, because whenever you have any planets in the 1st house, 7th house, 4th house, and 10th house, they speak loudly. They are one of the angles or pivot points or kentrons of the chart. So you can see Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, is in the 10th house of Gemini, 17 degrees, 9 minutes retrograde, in opposition to Mercury, who is your ruler, at 20 degrees, 20 minutes Sag retrograde. So they are in each other's homes. It's called mutual reception. And that means that there's something new that can happen in the next 6 months that you may like to review and think about. Because this new moon in Sagittarius is really related to your home, your family, your roots. It's your resting place. It's around lineage and ancestry and wounds and parenting and things like that. So Sagittarius tends to be quite hopeful and optimistic. Mercury is retrograde. So this would suggest reflecting upon some issues related to home and family. And Jupiter is up here in the 10th house of your social status. So Jupiter retrograde might be related to thinking over what you're seen to do in the public eye, which may be your career or your vocations in life if you are retired. Even, you know, if you're a mother or a father or a grandmother and you're always out with your grandchildren or your children, that's what you're seen to do in the public eye. It's a great job. It's an important job. It's a great fulfilling job and really so important. So Jupiter up there is maybe giving you lots of stimulation for different ideas of expansion, and maybe you have had some benefits come to you. But while Jupiter is retrograde, there's this dynamic in this opposition to Mercury, where each can help each other, but it is about polarity. It's about finding balance. This opposition is the nature of Saturn, the most distant planet of the solar system. And Saturn can say no. If this balance point cannot be met, there's a sort of, okay, it's not going to happen. No, you know, so it's about reflecting upon issues around your public life, what you'd like to do to expand that, and something new around home and family. So I hope that's helpful for you, Virgos. Thank you so much for listening. Please press like, leave a comment below, or share or subscribe. That would be really appreciated. Thank you so much. That helps my channel grow. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a free reading of your choice to the lucky winner. So now we are at Libra. Welcome, Libra. This is your new moon in Sagittarius, in your 3rd house of your daily life and communications. So this new moon at 9 degrees 32 minutes could represent some ideas of either a new course that you'd like to take and study, or it could be about your social communications on social platforms using the internet. We've got Mercury here at 20 degrees 20 minutes retrograde. So this new beginning, new ideas, something around your neighborhood, journeys, courses, communicating, could be about relationship with your family or friends that you treat as family, siblings or distant relatives. It could be a new start happening here for you. And your ruler is Venus, and Venus is in your 4th house of home and family, trying to work hard here, you know, doing things for the long term in a practical, enduring way. And the ruler of Sagittarius, this lunation, is Jupiter up here in your 9th house of Gemini, in opposition to Mercury in Sagittarius. So Jupiter is retrograde at 17 degrees 9 minutes. Jupiter has been in your 9th house for the last, well, since about the 25th of May 2024, and will be here until about June 2025, going this way. Eventually, he's going retrograde at the moment. So there's a sense of reflecting upon topics related to your higher mind, your belief system, your spirituality, your sense of where you belong in the world. These philosophies may be getting changed at this time with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, because it's a time of reflection, and Gemini has many ideas. You may be highly stimulated and have been stimulated to expand yourself. It might involve overseas travels as well, other cultures. But as Jupiter is retrograde, it's a time to reflect upon and hone down on, you know, less busyness and focusing in on what really will help you in the expansion for the future. And at the same time, we have Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, in the house that Jupiter rules, and Jupiter in the house that Mercury rules. So there's a sense of mutual respect and reception here, where they can support each other. So something about your wider schemes and your higher mind, maybe further education might come into it, training in something that can help you in the future. And Mercury is really about your mind and intelligence and selling yourself and your skills. So Mercury is helping Jupiter in that area of further education or further study or long distance travel. And Jupiter is helping Mercury in your daily life by the mutual reception here. So there's something here that you can maybe think about growing for the future that may come to fruition around the 11th of June 2025 at the full moon, but don't plow ahead perhaps until Mercury at least stations direct on the 15th of December, and actually is better after the 3rd of January, when Mercury will move past the post-shadow period of about 22 degrees where he's stationed retrograde. So I hope that's helpful for you, Libra. Let me know if any of that resonates. I appreciate it if you can like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to help the algorithm for more people to find me and help my channel grow. Thank you. So welcome, Scorpio. This is the new moon in Sagittarius in your 2nd house, which is related to your skills and your own resources, your own abilities with finances, what you take into your body as well. So there may be a time of reflection, because we have Mercury retrograde at 20 degrees, 20 minutes retrograde. Mercury went stationed retrograde on the 25th of November. And during this time, you may be rethinking some of the things around money, finances, and your own skill set. With the Sagittarius new moon, 9 degrees, 32 minutes, sun and moon conjoined together, bringing an opportunity for some new beginning in this area of your life. It could be that you're thinking, okay, I might need to budget to be able to save for something in the future. Or it could be that you're rethinking what you take into your body. And this is certainly something that if you make new changes in these topics, bearing in mind that Sagittarius is quite hopeful and bright and positive and expansive and hopeful, ruled by Jupiter, they can take a while to come to fruition. This full moon in Sagittarius can culminate on the 11th of June, 2025, when these new beginnings that you may be reflecting upon just now may come to their head or to their culmination point or ending point. And your ruler is high up into the heavens here. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, and he is up here. I don't want that circle. Let me just get my line and the arrow. You can't see my annotate bar. There's millions of things I could be using. Here we go. Here is Mars. Your ruler is high in the heavens, still moving direct at 5 degrees, 57 minutes at the moment. And he is bringing a helpful trine to your house of finances from your house of career and your work. So there's a sense of real creativity and leadership skills and positivity with Mars in the fire sign of Leo, lending some support to this new moon and new potential for the future. And also the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, which is in your 8th house of Gemini. So this is related to other people's money, people that support you, the esteem of others, chunky money that comes in from other sources that aren't your own daily work grafting. It could be grants, it could be inheritance, it could be gifts from others, tax rebates, things like that. And Jupiter at 17 degrees, Gemini, 9 minutes retrograde is in a mutual reception to Mercury because they are in each other's homes. Mercury rules Gemini, where Jupiter is, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, where Mercury is. So there's a sense of some potential support coming from both of these planets as you're reflecting upon topics around finances and security for the future. And, it's good to find balance with this opposition. Otherwise, things can just separate because it's the nature of Saturn, and it can be a no result if you don't find balance. So that may mean some budgeting, cutting back, reflecting on topics around these things for the future. So let me know if any of that resonates, Scorpio. Thank you very much for listening. I really hope that's helpful for you. Press like, leave a comment to help the algorithm, share and subscribe if you're able. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Hi there, Sagittarius. It's like I'm speaking to myself now. This is the new moon in Sagittarius, so it's really quite a dynamic moon for you. It's a new beginning around the house of your own self and identity, how you show up in the world, your psychology, your in identity, your mindset, your vitality. So there's something new potentially that can happen at this new moon in Sagittarius, where we have the sun and the moon conjoined at 9 degrees 32, co-present with Mercury retrograde at 2020 Sag. So potentially you can think about and reflect upon how you would like to show up in the world. Reflect upon your own skills, what's important to you, in how you can express your warm, fiery, vibrant energy, being on the quest, constantly learning, imparting your knowledge to others is very much a Sagittarian thing. Sometimes we feel like we know best, which we obviously do. But anyway, I joke. There's something new about something that you can do. And it's a time of reflection with Mercury here. As you, a Mercury stationed retrograde on the, bear with me, I had it right in front of me. 25th of November, Mercury stationed retrograde, and on the 15th of December, Mercury will be stationing direct, but wait until the 3rd of January, Sagittarius, before plowing ahead with any new ideas, because that's when Mercury will move past the post-shadow period of, I think it was 22 degrees. So that's the best time. It's not the best time to start new projects right now. One, because at a new moon, there's no light in the heavens. So it's a time to just ponder, reflect, review, revisit, rethink, complete tasks of things that you've started and not finished at this time. Your ruler is Jupiter in Gemini, in the opposite house here, and Gemini Jupiter's been in this area of life since about the 25th of May, 2024. Jupiter in exile and Mercury in exile, meaning that Jupiter rules Sag and Jupiter's 180 degrees away, and Mercury rules Gemini and is 180 degrees away. But because they're both in each other's houses, there's a sense of support. So support from, if you're in a relationship, your partner, helping you to reflect and expand and think about what you'd like to develop for the future. It also could mean that if you're in a relationship, your partner has many different things going on, but there is a sense of expansion, growth, and opportunities coming from this house of your close relationships. But it could also reflect on a clientele, business partners, or people that you serve in your business world with Jupiter there. So there's a sense of support coming from Jupiter and Mercury, trying to find balance about what's right for you so that you can resonate and follow your own path, being sovereign and true to yourself, and fulfilling your sense of self for the future, which may come to fruition around the time of the full moon on the 11th of June. So Sag, let me know if that suits you. Somebody asked recently, I say Saggies as a wee sort of shortened version of Sagittarius, and I always spell Saggies with 2 G's, so it's Saggies, otherwise it'll be Saggy. Anyway, that's, yes, somebody said, oh, why do you spell it with 2 G's? Is it an old word? And actually, it's just me adding a G. Anyway, I digress. So moving on to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Capricorn. Hi there, Capricorn. This is your new moon in Sagittarius. Short interpretation. As we can see, we have this new moon where the sun and the moon are conjoined at 9 degrees 32 minutes Sagittarius in your 12th house. So this is an area of deep reflection. It's being away from the public eye. It's a place of retreat, quiet, inner, spiritual, listening in. You know, places of retreat may include being in nature, away from crowds. It could be libraries, it could be institutions. It's a place of compassion, you know, hospitals, hospices, prisons, ashrams, you know, all of these places. Or it can be about your inner retreat where you can listen in to your inner world of what guides you from your quiet inner self, where you have your inner wealth. Spiritual practices, dream work, mystical pursuits. There could be a sense of either, and also overseas, distant places. This may resonate as well for you Capricorns. There's a potential here for something new practices or something new in these areas of your life that you may develop. And Mercury is retrograde at 20 degrees Sag, 20 minutes. So it is a time of going back over something that you've maybe done in the past that you're thinking about maybe starting again. But remember, because Mercury is retrograde at this time, it's probably just a time to rethink things and just see how it all sits with you, revisit, refresh yourself, review things, replan. It's not usually a time to move forward with things until Mercury moves direct, which is on the 15th of December. And if you want to be doubly sure, after the 3rd of January, where Mercury moves past the post-shadow period. And at the time of this new moon in Sagittarius, the ruler is Jupiter in your 6th house here of Mars's joy. Jupiter is also retrograde at 17 Gemini, 9 minutes. So there could be reflections around topics of your daily life, service, work, what you do for others in a way of self-sacrifice. And it also can be to do with topics around health as well. In ancient astrology, the 6th house was known to be the place of Mars's joy, which was about Mars was, servitude. It was the house of servants in the past, and thankfully, not many of us have servants nowadays. But it is related to work and graft and toil, things that we do that sometimes we feel are just like mundane and never get appreciated because we do them all the time, and it has a bearing on our health. So while Jupiter is retrograde, you may be reflecting upon some topics about work or your own health. And with this opposition, the mutual reception with Mercury in the place of Jupiter's temple. Mercury is in Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules, and Jupiter is in the temple of Mercury's domicile, Gemini. There's mutual reception here. So reflecting upon things that are really helpful for you in a deeper spiritual way can nourish plans for the future that may come to fruition, because Jupiter is in your daily life. And sometimes this is, Mars's joy can be about conflict as well. So going back over things that are difficult in your daily life, work and service might be getting reflected upon at this time, Capricorn. And your ruler is in your 3rd house. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is down here in the house of communications, has been retrograde, but is now moving forward. So there's a sense of, responsibility in and around your neighborhood, or in relation to siblings, or how you communicate with others and hold responsibility. That's all going on as well. And Mars is in a nice, helpful trine to this lunation, this new moon, at 5 degrees Leo, lending some warmth and positivity and expansion from the views of others and shared resources. So that's bringing an extra bit of impetus that may support you to develop these new plans for the future. So let me know if any of that resonates, Capricorn. If you can like, that would be wonderful. If you can subscribe, if you haven't already, that would be brilliant. And leave a comment below, and thank you so much. Hi there, Aquarius. This is your new moon in Sagittarius, short reading. This is the new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius, 32 minutes in your 11th house. So the 11th house was known as Jupiter's joy. It reflects positive hope and aspirations for the future. It's about your long-term goals and your wishes. It's also related to your groups and friendships and networks of people that support you. In ancient times, it was called the House of Benefactors and Allies. So there's a sense of something new that can begin for the future that you'd like to develop. However, Mercury is co-present retrograde at 2020 Sagittarius. So this isn't a time to particularly plow ahead while Mercury is retrograde, but you can maybe revisit some topics that, in the past, looking back over what were your long-term dreams. Are these still relevant, perhaps? Or do they need to be tweaked? Or has things happened since that those aren't the dreams anymore? And you've got this opposition coming from Jupiter, and it's a mutual reception with Jupiter in Gemini. So Jupiter is 17 degrees 9 minutes Gemini in your 5th house of pleasures and joy and creativity, entrepreneurship, romance, love, children, pregnancy, anything creative. These topics have been highly stimulated since May 2024, when Jupiter moved into Gemini. However, Jupiter is now moving retrograde. So during the retrograde cycle, it's a time to reflect upon, what are these things that bring you joy? What are these things that bring you pleasure or help you express your personal creativity? Because there can be many, many ideas with Jupiter in Gemini, like a scattergun approach of starting many things, but it's maybe a time to hone in and think about, what are the things that really bring you joy and that you can develop in the future. So Jupiter in Gemini is in a mutual reception to Mercury in Sagittarius. These are in each other's homes. So there's a sense of, there's maybe friendships here, people, communications that can support you in finding your pleasures as well in the future. And your ruler, the traditional ruler of Aquarius, is Saturn. And Saturn is here in your second house of Pisces. So, you're looking at your own skill set. You're perhaps looking at finances and what you need to budget for, or skills that you need to improve. These sort of things are also in the mix. And Mars is in a trine to this new moon, 30, 60, 90, 120 degrees. It's a wide orb, but there's a flowing energy, or you could call it a whole sign trine, to all of these stellium of planets here. The luminaries, the sun and the moon and Mercury. Flowing aspect from your house of personal relationships. So there's something warm and fiery and positive and creative that's lending some impetus and potential for you to fulfill these new dreams for the future that may come to fruition around the full moon in Sag on the 11th of June, 2025. So thank you so much for listening. Aquarius, if any of that resonates, leave a comment below. Press like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, to help the algorithm recognize my channel. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a free reading. So last but not least, welcome patient Pisces. I don't know if you've listened to the whole thing, but if you have, well done. You're always the last one that I read because you're the last sign of the zodiac. So look here, you've got this new moon in Sagittarius in the 10th house of Sagittarius. It's a really visible area of your chart. It's at the top of the sky. It's called the house of praxis, and it's one of the angles of the chart. So this new moon speaks very loudly about things that you may want to bring to fruition in the future, related to your public status, your reputation, your vocations in life, and it may be related to your occupation and your career path as well. But we have Mercury retrograde at 2020 at the same time. So Mercury went retrograde on the 25th of November. So it's a time, with Mercury retrograde, not of starting new things, but revising, revisiting, rethinking, reworking, going back over and contemplating and focusing in on what you feel is going to be the most beneficial path to take for the future. And also at the time, your ruler, Jupiter, is in opposition in a mutual reception to Mercury in the 4th house of home and family. So Pisces, I'm sure there's been a lot going on, either around your home life, expanding things, changing things, moving perhaps, lots of different ideas with Jupiter in Gemini. But Jupiter is now retrograde at 17 degrees, 9 minutes Gemini. So there's a sense of potential growth and moving forward with some things that can help expand and opportune sort of positive moves around home and family, maybe property or the land, or something around your lineage and ancestry. But, with Jupiter retrograde and Mercury retrograde, they can support each other. The home gives you strength to think about your public world. And at the same time, Mercury up there in your public world gives strength to ideas that you can harness around topics around your home and family. So that's something quite dynamic going on in your chart here in those angles of the chart. And at the same time, Mars is bringing some positive energy from your everyday work life, your daily life of what you do for others in a sense of self-sacrifice, or it could be your work and routines. Bring in some trine, positive, flowing, harmonious energy, fire to fire, giving fuel to this potential new beginning that you may be thinking about. And if you plant seeds of intention with this new moon in Sag, they may come to fruition around the 11th of June, 2025. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. I hope you've found this enjoyable. I'm wrapped right up here in Scotland. It's about -5 degrees and some of our water has frozen at home. So I'm wrapped up with a poncho and a scarf, and I had a heated wheat bag on my neck. But I feel this is a positive new moon in Sagittarius. And as a double Sagittarius myself, sun and ascendant, I can really resonate with all the sense of hope and positivity. There's always something to be grateful for. And when we give thanks and we have a practice of just thinking, you know, my feet are here on the ground. What can I see around me? For me today, it was like the beauty of all the sparkling crystals in the fields, and just the beauty of the sun and the shadows that came across the fields as I went for a walk and fed the pigs with some crackers. I actually took them down some food scraps and realized it was my mulled wine things from Peel and Spices. So it was a rum container I took the pigs, but at least they got some crackers. But anyway, thank you for listening. I'm Debbie, Celestial Astrology Healing. Get in touch for a private reading if you're interested in looking into your own personal natal chart and what planets are doing what, and who's your Time Lord for the year ahead, and where the eclipses are going to be happening. It's my absolute passion and pleasure to work with you. And I can do readings in probably January now. And I hope this new moon is a positive beginning for us all, sending out love, light, and peace and healing to all beings. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.